Hi, welcome to Elevate Your Life today, dear ones. So excited to have you here. I have to confess, I'm a teeny bit jet lagged, but that does not diminish my excitement for being with you today. I've been looking forward to this challenge we've been planning this challenge for, I don't know, months. And I love this one. This is the time of the year that we are working on habits. And I have some great tools for you today to help you with your habits. So I'm really glad you're here. Tell me in the chat where you're from. I see a lot of my students, my LMS students. I also see some names I don't know. So tell me in the chat where you're from and let me enable our live chat so that we can get the transcription on this. Oh my goodness. Florida, Oklahoma, Arizona, Central Texas, Southern California, Oklahoma, Western North Carolina, Minnesota. Where's my Tennessee girls? Dallas, Fort Worth, Waco. We have lots of Texans on today. Hi, Minnesota, Michigan, Alabama. We got my dear Aline there from Georgia. All right. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping and then I'm going to dive right into the teaching for today. So, first of all, we love when you share our workshops on social media and we just repost them all the ones that we can see and find. So, it's so fun for us to see like the setup of how you're watching. So, snap a quick picture and tag us on social media at Edie Wadsworth and we will repost those. We love when you do that. It helps other people like you find our content and we are really grateful when you do that. So share if you are so inclined. Oh my goodness, Dina. She says she's an LMS student but has never been able to join anything live. So glad you're here. We have our LMS students here and we have people that join just for the Elevate Your Life Challenge. So for all of those of you who are new to me, let me give you a quick introduction. I am Dr. Edie Wadsworth. I am the founder of Life Mentoring School and the founder of Life Mentoring School Coach Certification, which we just started this year. So we just certified our first set of Christian life coaches. We're actually having a live event this weekend to celebrate them on Friday night. So, congratulations to all our coaches who might be on the call. And our program, Life Mentoring School, where we coach people to 10x their lives, to drastically improve their thinking, their mental and emotional wellness and resilience. And we are so happy that all of you are here. So welcome if you're new and welcome if if you're just always with us. We love it no matter what. I also wanted to tell you a little bit about how the week is going to go. So, we will have these live videos where I will do the main teaching for the challenge, and those will be this week at noon Eastern, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. The reason we're not teaching on Thursday is because we have lots of people coming into town for our live event, and we are hiking together. On Thursday, we are going to hike in the Smoky Mountains together. And so we won't have teaching on that day. We may do a fun behind the scenes, though, in the Facebook group for that day, which would be fun. And then this weekend is our live event for Life Mentoring School, Friday and Saturday. So we are going to do some awesome behind the scenes videos in the Facebook group for Elevate Your Life. So make sure you join the Facebook group if you're on Facebook so that you'll get those behind the scenes videos. We have Tim Willard coming to speak at our event on Friday. Yes, Amanda, we're sending out the hiking details. I did pick the hike. I was trying to wait to see the weather, but I finally picked the hike. We're going to do the jump off hike. I think that's such an appropriate name of the hike we're doing. It is even not an official trail in the Smokies, so I sent all the details and we'll get that to you today in an email. So Tim Willard, who has a book, he's a great friend of mine. He's a C.S. Lewis scholar. So, of course, I love him and all his work. He has a new book releasing tomorrow called Beauty Chasers. And he's going to be speaking at our graduation at our live event Friday night. And then Saturday, Melanie Schenkel is coming into town. I've been texting with her all morning. So I'll be speaking. Several of our coaches are speaking. And then Melanie is speaking on Saturday. So you're going to get access to all of that in the Elevate Your Life Facebook group. So that is going to be super fun. I also wanted to let you know, yes, if you're not on Facebook, those videos will be uploaded eventually into your library. You just won't see them live. I also wanted to let you know that we decided, because this topic is all about habits, and one of the things that a lot of people struggle with is how they take care of themselves, how we eat and move and all of that. So I decided to include the Unlock Your Metabolism course that I taught last year. It was our most popular class of the year by far. I included that in your bonus for Elevate Your Life. That class will change your life, y'all. So if you are already in LMS and have never watched that class, you need to go watch it. We still have people that say that's their favorite class that I've ever taught, and it gave them such a shift for how they think about food and movement. So that class is now part of your library. And so make sure that at some point you watch that one. I also wanted to mention that we are going to be doing some really fun giveaways in the Facebook group this week. Today, we're giving away 2 copies of our brand new planner. We publish a quarterly planner. I'm going to use it a little bit today because the tools that I'm teaching can do the tools that I'm teaching in the planner, but we are giving away a couple of copies of that today inside the Facebook group. So lots of reasons to join in that group if you haven't. And if you have not yet shared the workshop with a friend, we would love for you to invite a friend. Angela has an awesome giveaway inside the Facebook group right now. If you invite a friend and they join the class, it's so fun to do something like this with a friend. I think challenges like this just naturally sort of invite community. It's so fun to do it together with someone else. So if you haven't done that yet, we would love for you to do that. Let me say a couple more things. I would highly encourage you to attend live and make you a priority this week. I promise you that you can't show up the way you want in your own life if you don't create rhythms and habits that sustain you and nourish you. And you will get the most out of this if you can attend live. If you can't, just keep up with the replays, but we're going to be throwing a lot of good stuff at you. And the more present that you can be, really the more that you'll get out of it. So we are going to help elevate your thinking today. We're going to elevate a lot of things in your life today. We're going to elevate your thinking as a way to elevate your self-concept. So that's kind of what we're diving into today. I'm really excited. I have 2 tools to share with you, which are the tools that I have used, tools that work, that are simple, that I have used to do this in my own life over and over and over and over again. So make sure that you make it a priority. Invite your friends if you haven't already. You can just send them the link to the course. Maybe, Angela, can you throw the link in the chat, and you just copy and paste that link and message some people on Facebook or email it or text it to a few friends that you want to join us. That would be amazing. I wanted to say also, if you are already in LMS, we will talk about it later in the week. My coaching program, Life Mentoring School, which is a monthly mentorship. If you are already part of LMS, you never need to buy anything, any of our workshops. We do four-ish workshops a year, sometimes a couple more. And those workshops are all included in your LMS membership. I also wanted you to know that if you're already in Life Mentoring School, we will have some extra behind the scenes videos this week in your Life Mentoring School Facebook group. So I will share a little bit of how I use some of these tools, what they look like in my own life. And then this weekend, we will have behind the scenes videos for everybody in the Elevate Your Life Facebook group from our live event. So hopefully that is not too confusing. In other words, You're going to see a lot of us this week. We're going to be sharing all our tips and secrets for helping you elevate your life by creating nourishing habits that sustain you. So, if you haven't yet downloaded our workbook, we do have a workbook. Maybe, let's see, Angela also, let me give you one more job. Angela has a lot of jobs. I couldn't live without my little Angela. She's amazing. But Angela, if you maybe could put the link, I think it's a Dropbox link to the workbook in the chat, that would be awesome as well. So you can use the workbook. I'm switching a couple things around just a little bit, but you can use the workbook to follow along if you want to do that. So, that is how the week is going to go. As we're progressing along today, if you have questions, and you very well may have questions, if you have questions about how to implement something, or if you feel a little bit confused, do not put them in the chat because the chat usually moves fast. Just put those in the Q&A box and I will get to those at the end. I'm hoping to have some time at the end to answer your questions and to coach you on anything. I can take a thought that you're having and help coach you through it. And sometimes that's even more illuminating. I dare say that usually is more illuminating than the actual teaching. So don't be shy. So 2 ways to get help today. Put your question in the Q&A. And when we get to the end, you can raise your virtual hand. You can hover over your screen. There's a raise hand button at the bottom. You can raise your virtual hand and I'll bring you on and we can work through your issue together. So if you've never been live coached, I know that that can be a little bit nerve-wracking. Maybe we'll have one of our LMS students who wants to go first and show you what it's all about. But I think we'll have time for that at the end after we cover these 2 main tools that I want to cover today for building new habits. Okay, Angela, if I missed anything, let me know. I think I got through all my announcements though. So we are so grateful that you're here. You signing up for this course is like you putting a stake in the ground, saying it's time for a refresh. It's time for a reboot. It's time to really take a look at what I do in my life every day. What are the habits that have formed without my even knowing? And do I want to keep them? Do I love them? Do they nourish me? Am I proud of them? Do they give me the results in my life that I want? So as we dive into the content, I want you to tell me in the chat, what is one result that you want in your life that you really haven't been able to achieve yet? Maybe it's something with your health. Maybe it's weight loss. Maybe it's something with relationships. Maybe it's something with the way that you exercise or move your body. Maybe it's your spending. Maybe it is the way you experience your life emotionally. You've been into some negative mental and emotional patterns that you don't love. Whatever it is, maybe it's starting a business or really growing that business. Somebody just mentioned house clutter. Yes. So important. The environment. We're going to talk about that on Friday, you guys. The environment that you create for yourself is so, so important. You don't have to put just one, Lauren. Maybe just put one at a time. It'll be easier to read though. But whatever that result is that you have in your life, that you want in your life, that you don't have yet, that's what we want to help create for you. Now, I have worked on this in so many different parts of my life, and I've had a ton of success using the tools that I'm going to teach you today, but I'm working on more. I'm working on others. This is something that I'm still mastering, that I'm still really learning. And as I do this today, I have been over the last couple of months working on getting a little bit more fit, really addressing the inflammation that I still have. I've gotten rid of so much of my body's inflammation, but I've been working on that and I've had some weight loss. And the weight loss that I've had over the past couple of months has made me realize that I probably still have a little bit that I could lose. And so I am going to use the example of weight loss in a lot of the examples that I give today, but I want you, and we'll do other examples, but I want you to be able to apply it to whatever your thing is. It really is the same strategy, the same tools that we will use. Now, I know a lot of you do want to lose weight or you do want to get healthier. So this is going to be an example that applies to lots of you. But I want you to know that you can use the tools that we use for whatever the result is that you want to create. So if you're ready to ditch some bad habits and build some habits that you're proud of, that give you the life you want, you are in the right place. So I am truly an example of using these tools in my own life to create a totally different life, to become, in essence, a totally different person than I was a year ago, 5 years ago, especially 10 years ago. I had some really negative thinking and feeling patterns, some emotional patterns that were making me feel anxious and depressed all the time. I had some really terrible stories that I was telling myself about my past that I've been able to work through. I've used these tools to change my relationship to money, to change my relationship to people, to build a 7-figure business. Like, I've used these tools to death and they work. So I promise you that if you do the work, these tools work. And as we go through them today, you're going to have lots of thoughts come up. You're going to be tempted to say, yeah, but here's my story. Here's what's happened for me. That's when I want you to raise your hand. I want you to tell me in the Q&A box when those come up, when you go, yeah, but I've tried before and, this didn't work. This is where it would be a good idea to raise your hand and get some help and coaching. If something comes up for you, if you feel a lot of resistance to what I'm saying today, I want you to get help. I want you to leave here feeling hopeful and feeling like, oh my word, now I think this is totally possible for me too. A lot of times when we listen to teachings like this, we go, yeah, well, it's easy for you because blah, 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 or I can see how other people can do it, but I just don't think it's for me. I used to think that too. I used to think I was stuck in these negative patterns, but I promise you, I've used these tools so many times over and over again. My students in Life Mentoring School have used them over and over and over again. I promise you they work. So I want you to really be present, pay attention, and see how what I'm saying today is for you. Okay. It's also sometimes tempting to go, oh, you know who needs to hear this is such and such. No, today is for us. Today is for those of us who are here. Today is for you. Today is for me. And I really think these tools will change everything for you. So here's what happens. We form habits easily. Let me say that again. Your brain forms habits easily. How many of you are like, I don't know, it feels hard to form habits? I know that is a common myth out there, that it's hard to form habits. It might be hard to form nourishing habits. That's also just a thought. But your brain forms habits easily because your brain likes to make things efficient. So when your brain notices that you do something over and over again, when your brain notices that you think something over and over again, your brain is like, we should probably make this a habit so that we can save energy. Your brain is always trying to conserve energy, so it likes to put things on autopilot so you don't have to think about it. And this is a great thing because you wouldn't want every day to have to really think about how you're going to get to work or how you're going to do your morning routine or how you're going to take your makeup off and brush your teeth. No, we want those things to become habit so we don't have to spend so much of our brain energy doing them, right? Your brain forms habits easily. The question is, what kind of habits are we telling our brain to form? Now, often we don't do this on purpose. I would say most of the time we don't do this on purpose because we don't realize that we have agency or control over this. So our brain just forms these habits and we go, I don't know. I just feel like I ate half a bag of Doritos and I don't even know what happened. How many of you feel like some of your bad habits happen to you? It feels like you don't have control. You just wake up and go, what just happened here? You do this with shopping. We do this with scrolling social media. How long can you scroll social media? And you're like, I was just 2 hours before I ever realized it. That's because your brain is so good at doing this. This is a good thing if you do it on purpose. If you create the habits that you want to have, if you create habits that give you a result in your life that you actually want. Now, probably reason that you showed up here today is because your brain has been making habits out of things you don't want to keep. You don't want the overeating. You don't want to habitually feel overwhelmed and feel anxiety and shop too much and scroll too much or whatever the habit is. And here's what I promise you, this becomes so much easier to do. First of all, when you realize your brain is designed to do this, this is what it does. So this doesn't have to be hard. This is really a simple process, and that you telling yourself over and over, this is going to be so hard, isn't helping. And I'll show you why that isn't helping in a minute. But here's what I also find, y'all. I also find that it's so much easier to get rid of bad habits and to create nourishing habits when we remember who we are, when we remember God's purpose in our lives, when we remember the why of why we're here, why we're created, what our purpose and meaning is in this world. And the tools that I'm going to teach you today will help you remember that. But I want to remind you at the very first of this that you are an amazing, beautiful, gifted, adored daughter of the Most High King. And the way you have come to see yourself and the way that then you have become acting out on that is likely not a reflection of who you are. So what we want to help you do today is we want to help you see the self-concept that you're currently living in, which I bet is not a reflection of who God made you to be, of who you are, a daughter of the Most High God who loves you and adores you and created the world for you to fulfill a specific calling and mission here. There is a value and a job that only you can do, that was created just for you. And when you let yourself get caught up in negative thinking and negative emotional patterns and a bunch of bad habits, you don't live out the version of yourself, that highest form of yourself that God made. So what we're going to teach you today will teach you how to start doing that, how to start living from your truest self. Now, we included in your workbook this amazing worksheet that's called True Self, False Self. And I want you to take some time later as you're doing your journal prompts, as you're doing your challenge. I want you to take some time later to really figure out, am I living as my true self? Am I living in love and forgiveness and abundance and truth? Or am I living in resentment and bitterness and negativity and all of the things that it's so easy to get caught up in? I know 100% that for you to elevate your life, you must begin thinking as the version of you that is her truest self, the version of you that knows she is a daughter of the Most High God. And that portion of this is so important. I promise you, when I started living from that place, those bad habits fall away easier. I know what my purpose is. I know what I was sent here to do. And when we remember that, when we remember why God made us, why he put us here, why he put us in the families and in the situations that he put us in to be his agents of love in this world, so much easier to elevate the way we show up every day. And you can change this easily. So if you're like, yeah, I really haven't been showing up as that version of myself, it is a matter of just deciding you're going to do it. And we're going to give you tools today that are going to help you do that. So here's what happens. We get in these patterns of thinking. We get in these and I want you to tell me, for you, based on the topic of the result that you really want to create in your life. So whether it's health or food or exercise or your home or your relationships, whatever it is, your goals, maybe you feel like, oh, I'm just terrible at setting goals. I start and I stop or whatever it is. I want you to tell me the main thought that you have about that thing. So maybe it is, again, your weight. Maybe your main thought is, I'm just never going to get there. This is never going to work for me. I'm always going to struggle with this. I want you to tell me your main thought that you currently have about the thing you struggle with. So everybody type them up in the chat. I love these. I don't have enough time. I've tried everything. Maybe I'm too old. I'm not consistent. I set goals and I don't follow through. I don't have enough energy for this. I'm lazy. I don't really want to. That's a good, honest answer. I'm terrible at everything I try. I have so much to lose. I have so much to do that I won't be able to do it. I give up too quickly. Yes. So all of these are the default thoughts that you have in your mind about this thing you want to change. I have no motivation. I feel stuck. I've tried everything. Keep them coming. I want you to keep them coming because I want you to know you're not alone. There's nothing wrong with you that you have these thoughts. It just means that you're a human. These are the thoughts that we all have, right? You can see however many people just commented, you can see that we're all the same. We all have these thoughts that don't serve us. Now, the first tool that I'm going to teach you is called the creation cycle. And if you're in my program, I want you to hear how I teach it in a brand new way. I want you to just decide. I know I've heard this, but let me listen and hear it in a new way, because here's what I've learned. Every time I really do the work on my mind and on my thoughts, I get a newer piece of it. It goes deeper for me. So if this is not brand new for you, I want you to take something brand new away from it today. So here's what happens in the creation cycle. This is a tool that I teach in my coaching program. This is the main tool that I use to coach people on. And I want to show you how powerful it is. Sometimes you can just draw it as a circle. This is often how I draw it because it is a cycle, but you can also think of it in this way. And here's the main points. Our thoughts that we think create our feelings. Those feelings fuel the actions we take or don't take. And then those actions give us a result in our life that we like or don't like. Okay? So thoughts produce feelings. Feelings fuel our actions. And then our actions create results. The scripture says it way more eloquently. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. My program is really based on Romans 12. Be transformed by renewing your mind. So here's what happens when you think the thought, this is never going to work for me. And you can just insert your thought, whatever your thought is, you can just insert it in there and we'll go through the creation cycle together. So if your thought is, this is never going to work for me, my secret goal, I haven't told anybody this, but my secret thing that I'm working on, I really think I can probably get down to my high school weight. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that my weight has been under control for a while, but as I was changing and manipulating some things over the last couple of months, I just naturally just lost like 5 more pounds. And it got me close to the weight that I used to weigh in high school. I'm like, I wonder if that is possible. It would be easy to think this is never going to happen for me, right? So when that's your thought, and you tell me in the chat, if your thought was, this is never going to work for me, maybe I'm never going to get my house organized. I'm never going to lose the weight. I'm never going to organize my life. I'm never going to get control of money. How do you feel when your thought is, this is never going to work for me? Yes, defeated. Defeated before I start. Hopeless. Why bother? Frustrated. Yep. Yes. And when you feel that way, so let's say your goal is you feel defeated, you feel hopeless, you feel like it's never going to happen for you. What actions do you take in your weight loss or getting your house organized or getting your money in order when you feel defeated? You eat, you spend. Yes, you eat all the cookies, you spend, you do things that create that result for you. So you eat or you spend, however the actions that you take, or maybe you don't eat the things that you know serve you, right? So yes, so from defeated, you don't take the best actions. And that ends up giving you the result of this isn't working. Do you see what I'm saying? This is not going to work because I'm taking actions that prove that it's not going to work. Now, your brain is so powerful because it loves to prove you right. So if you consistently think this is never going to work, I'm never going to be able to do this, your brain is like, okay, I can help you make that happen, right? So your brain sends out peptides that correspond your emotional state to your thoughts. Your brain is an expert at doing this. Your brain is like a bartender. You tell it what to make and it will. So if you think defeating thoughts, your brain will create that emotion for you, which doesn't feel great. And then from those emotions, you will take actions that just prove this true in some way. Now, you may be saying to yourself, yeah, well, my brain just offers me the thought and it seems true. It doesn't even feel like a thought. It's just true. But here's what I want you to do. And I think this will really help create some separation for you. I want you to start when your brain offers you thoughts, instead of accepting them as true and living them out, I want you to remind yourself, oh, my brain has a thought that this is never going to happen. And this little bit of awareness is so powerful because you think it's true. But what I want to show you is that you're just making it true. So if you want to create a different result other than it's not working, you're going to have to think a different thought. You're going to have to renew your mind. You're going to have to think on purpose thoughts that fuel emotional states that have you taking actions that give you the result you want. So instead of thinking this is never going to work, I have decided to think, of course, this is going to work. This is working. Now, for you, I want you to take your main thought that you had about your struggle, and I want you to ask yourself, what could I think instead? What thought could I practice instead that would fuel the actions that I really know I need to take? Yes. And Rhonda, even that question, if you're asking yourself a question, why do I sabotage myself? Turn it into a statement. I sabotage myself, and ask yourself how you feel when you say that. And when you say I sabotage myself, you probably feel defeated and you take actions that create sabotage, right? So I know this is a little bit of a mind bender if it's your first time to hear it, but I want you to see that you are, in fact, creating your reality every day with your thoughts. You're choosing thoughts to latch onto because they feel true. I want you to choose thoughts to latch onto because those thoughts will give you the result you want. And I'm going to teach you a couple of ways to do that. I'll show you in a minute. But I want you to see that what happens over time, if you continue to think this thought, and you will if you don't interrupt this and you get into this cycle, what happens is every day your brain offers you the same thoughts and you keep believing them, and it keeps generating a feeling of defeat. How many of you sometimes wake up in the morning and you just feel defeated and you don't even know why? It's because you've turned this into a habit. Some of you wake up and you feel anxious or you feel overwhelmed and you don't know why, because you've turned that into a habit, and your brain is really good at habits. Your brain's like, I can just put this on autopilot for you. You want this overwhelm and anxiety and defeat every single day? I'll just put it on autopilot and we'll just keep creating this. I'll just make it easy for you. And what we don't realize is like, oh, I don't really want to turn this onto autopilot. We've turned things on autopilot that we don't want. And I promise you, as easily as you did it, your brain will make another habit for you. But what happens over time, as you think and feel and take actions in a certain loop, your brain will automate it for you. And before you know it, you're just doing it without your own, you feel like you're not even consenting to it. It's doing it without permission. How many of you feel like you're in a cycle like that where it's happening? It feels like it's happening to you. It feels like it's happening and you don't even have control over it. But I promise you, you do. And I promise you that you can automate better things. I love that, Mia. She says automated misery. Yeah, we've automated anxiety and overwhelm and misery and thoughts that don't serve us and thoughts that don't give us the results we want. So let's decide to automate something different. Let's make things easy for ourselves that are nourishing, that bring us life, that create, yes, peace and joy and energy. And once you put those things on autopilot, your life just skyrockets and it frees up so much of your brain space that you're currently using in negative thought and feeling patterns. Right now, you're using so much of your brain space. Those of you who weight loss is your thing, how much of your day do you spend beating yourself up, thinking, I'm never going to do this? And then you eat something that you really didn't want to eat. And then you feel bad. And then you just say, see, there I go. I'm never going to create that. And I bet you spend 50% of your mental energy in these negative thought patterns that aren't serving you. And you think there's nothing you can do about it. And the reason you think there's nothing you can do about it is because you look to your past and you say, well, I've tried this and this before and it never worked. Well, here's what I promise you. Making new patterns in your brain takes some time. Making new patterns in your brain is totally possible. I've done it a million times. I feel like people in my coaching program do it all the time, because when we do it and fail, and you will, we don't give up. We don't make that mean we're not going to do it. No, we just keep going until we get the result we want, until our brain cooperates with the automation. So you don't make the fact that you haven't been able to do it in the past, you don't use that as evidence that you're not going to be able to do it. You use that to say like, oh, I could learn from that. There's something there to learn from. Let me learn from that and let me keep going. When I was practicing medicine, I realized that people who successfully quit smoking, which is probably one of the hardest habits I've ever helped people change, they quit 7, 8, 10, 11 times before the brain goes, oh, I see, we're creating a new automation here. So if you're on your 7th time of weight loss, you're almost there, sister. And I promise you, this is possible. Do not give up on yourself. Don't give up on yourself. This is so important. And you have to have courage to show up to a class like this. You have to have courage to look at your life and go, yeah, that's not really working. It's not really giving me the result I want in my life. And I am willing to look at it and willing to keep going and willing to help my brain create a new pathway that gives me the result that I want. You know, I have spent the last, I don't know, couple of years, but man, I've spent seriously the last year traveling so much. I have a new grandbaby. I've been traveling. I just have had a lot of travel. And here's what I realize. These nourishing routines that I've created for myself are what give me so much joy and peace in my life. Whether I'm traveling, whether the circumstances outside my life are going awry. Listen, life is hard and hard things happen. And we've been through crazy seasons these past couple of years. And what's going on now in the world can feel daunting. We can't change any of that. But what you can change is what you are creating for yourself in your mind, in your heart, that then shows up as the result that you have in your life. If you think something long enough, you will start living it. Thoughts become things. Thoughts are powerful. They become our lives. And if we don't get good at getting some awareness, at going, oh, here my brain goes again, thinking that thought that doesn't serve me, if we don't begin to get this awareness, we will never really change who we are. Listen, how you think about yourself is just thoughts that you've been thinking for a long time. So if you have very defeating thoughts, I'm never going to do this, I'm no good, I'm so stuck, my life is so hard, you keep thinking that, you will just prove it right. What if you just decided, I'm the daughter of the Most High God, sent here on mission to spread love in this world, to be an agent of his kindness and his life and his love. And the way a person, a daughter of a king, shows up to her life is at the highest level. I show up as my true self. I show up as the highest version of me. And when you tell yourself that story over and over again and begin to live out that story, your life changes. Your capacity to create mental and emotional resilience for yourself changes. Your capacity to serve your family changes. Your capacity to use your gifts in the world changes when you change how you think about yourself. You will gain energy and passion in your life. You will have so much more peace. You can exchange that for all the overwhelm that you've been creating by thinking things differently. Listen, I was traveling last week to the Young Living Convention, and it was a crazy week. And I didn't get a lot of sleep, and Tom was with me, and I was meeting a lot of people. And it was so easy when I came back on Saturday to be overwhelmed, to go, oh my gosh, now I have a challenge to do this week in a live event. It was, my brain offered me all kinds of thoughts, but I know how to manage my brain. So I took some time with my journal and I decided to create the thoughts I want to create for myself. What a privilege it is to be here this week, to share these incredible tools. What an amazing gift to meet my students this weekend, to meet my clients, to meet the women who've gone through our certification. This week is going to be the most amazing, incredible week of my life. I truly believe that. And I journaled it out, and I entered the week with so much joy, with way more passion and way more energy. Overwhelm is an option. Defeat is an option. Stop choosing it. Stop telling yourself, stop allowing your brain to go crazy with thoughts that don't serve you. Ask yourself, what am I creating in my own life today with these thoughts? Do I like it? Am I proud of it? The path that you let your mind run in every day creates an emotional experience that isn't serving you. But I promise you, it's possible to reverse that. You are, as Aristotle said, you are what you repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. I like to rephrase that. You are what you repeatedly think. And in order to build a new habit, you have to practice new thoughts, which create new emotions. And those emotions fuel the action that become your life that you want to take. It becomes your day. It becomes your life. It becomes your personality. It becomes who you are in this world. So if you find yourself saying, well, this is just the way that I am, it's just because you've been practicing that way of being for so long. But did you choose it on purpose? Did you choose it with intention? This is the thought and the feeling and the action that is going to give me joy and passion and a love for life and an energy and health and vitality and joy. Did you choose it on purpose? If you have something you want to change, like the way you think, the way you take care of yourself physically, the way you spend your money, the way you keep your house, the way you experience your life mentally and emotionally, you can make a new path. You can make a new pattern in your brain by deciding on purpose to do so, which means you can create a new reality. You can create a new personality for yourself. Your personality is just this on repeat, day after day after day after day. You are making true the thoughts you think. And changing the way you think will change who you are. When I think of how I have elevated my own life, it's just the courage to look at this and to go, oh, I'm creating this for myself. And I don't even mean to. And when you begin to use this creation cycle on the daily to take a look at your thoughts, you will blow your own mind at how it frees you up to do the work you were called to do instead of cycling in negative cycles and cycles that don't serve you each and every day. So think of the result that you want to create for yourself. What are you going to have to think to create it? Who are you going to have to become in order to create that habit that you want to create? Your reality is shaped by your thoughts. Your current habits are a reflection of these. And these collection of thoughts that you have about yourself form your self-concept. But I want you to be transformed by renewing your mind. I want you to teach yourself a new way to think and be. I want to teach you a new way to get results in your life that doesn't require grinding and willpower and making yourself miserable. You can put the good one on autopilot too by practicing it over and over, by noticing when your brain wants to offer you these thoughts that don't serve you. One of the tools, the most important tool besides the creation cycle that I use to do that is my journal. And I just use the creation cycle in my journal. So if you're in our coaching program, Life Mentoring School, last year we decided to create this tool for the people in our program. Today we're giving away 2 inside the Elevate Your Life Facebook group. This is our new one. This is it's quarterly journal. This is the one for July, August, and September. This is the one that I'm finishing up. You can see all the coffee stains on it. This is the one that we're finishing up for the last of July. But in these journals, first of all, we teach you the habit of planning. So we teach you how to plan your day, how to decide what thoughts you want to practice. And at the back of the journal is all of this space for your workbook, this space for you to do a daily thought download where you can take a look at what's in that brain of yours and remind yourself like, oh, this is just my brain wanting to think these thoughts. And you just get it all out and you become aware of it and you decide, is this a thought that I want to become? Is this a thought that I want to keep? Does this thought make me my true self? Does this thought give me the results in my life that I want? And Melissa, I love what you're saying. Melissa, it says, I want time to journal. No, you decide to think the thought, I make time to journal. You just decide that you are a person who journals, who looks at her thoughts, because here's the reason why it's so important. Here's the reason why a daily journaling practice where you take a look at your thoughts is so important. Those thoughts will be your life 2 months from now, 3 months from now. You'll think them long enough that they'll be your life. You don't have time not to. And I promise you, when you make this a daily practice, so easy to do, you don't have to use our journal. Pick a journal, pick any journal. I will say that when you join Life Mentoring School, you get the chance to buy these. And when you join with our yearly program that we the yearly special that we only offer 4 times a year, you get one free. We'll talk about that later in the week. But I promise you that getting in the habit of doing a thought download, asking your brain, what are you thinking about this? Taking a look at your thoughts is so, so powerful. So what I teach my students to do in Life Mentoring School is to take a look at your thoughts and then on purpose on the day, decide on purpose the thought you want to practice, the thought you want to think. Your brain is going to offer you all kinds of things to think that you don't have to choose. I promise you, this is a choice. Sometimes it doesn't feel like a choice, but I promise you it is. And the more practice you get at doing it, the more you will realize, oh, I can for sure change this by the way I'm thinking. So those 2 tools, the creation cycle and a daily journal practice, you'll change your life. Now, in tomorrow's class, I'm going to give you fuel for the fire. We're going to make the change way faster by what we talk about tomorrow, but I want you to commit for the rest of the week, for the rest of July, June and July, to using the creation cycle and a journaling practice. And how I put these together is I do a thought download. That's the first thing that I do a thought download. And then I pick the thought that I think is giving me results that I don't love. And I do a creation cycle with it to see, what am I creating with this thought? And then I take the thought that I want to think instead, and I put that into my day. And as I'm using my journal to plan my day, I just practice the thought that I want to believe, that I want to think. It might not feel true yet. We're going to talk tomorrow about how you make it true, how you pour fuel on the fire for this practice that will get you results way faster than you think. I know you think new habits are hard. Tomorrow, the jet fuel that makes them so much easier to build. So I know there are a couple of questions in the Q&A. I'm going to answer a couple of questions. If you have a thought, if something has come up for you today, you feel some resistance, I would love to bring you on to coach you through that thought or through whatever is going on for you. So we do have Tanya has raised her hand. Tanya Smith, I'll get to you in just a second. Let me go through Laura's question really quick. I'm an LMS student and I love it. I'm working on putting my thoughts through a cycle, the creation cycle. And the place I get stuck is not seeing that I need to stop my negative thought spiral, even recognizing that I'm in one and putting that into the cycle. I think this is the first light bulb moment, is separating yourself from your thoughts long enough to go, oh, that's just a thought that I'm thinking. She says, this especially happens when I'm struggling with my hormones and I feel almost out of control. It feels like every moment is another negative thought. Yeah. And so whatever the thing is you're struggling with most, maybe it is your hormones. Maybe you put hormones as something that feels like it's just outside of you, that it's happening to you. And what is your main thought about that? So here's the crazy thing. It looks like your main thought about your hormones is that they're out of control. I want you to ask yourself, I want you to put that thought through a creation cycle. My hormones are out of control. How do you feel when you think that? You probably feel very out of control. And what do? Now, I'm not saying there can't be a physical component to this, but I'm saying we make the physical component way worse by how we think about it. So that's the place that I think I would start with, getting some traction with that thought. When you feel out of control, you probably have lots of emotions or lots of actions that are out of control. And just practicing the thought, I know you could change it to anything you want, but practicing a thought like, I know how to, maybe not, I've got my hormones in control, but try this. It's possible to have my hormones under control. It is possible. Even if you can't go to my hormones are in control, that might be too far. It's possible that my hormones are totally in control, right? And really working on the thoughts around it. Again, I'm not saying there's not a physical component to it, which we're going to address actually on Wednesday. But what I'm saying is this one is so powerful. If you keep thinking they're out of control, you won't find the answers to get them in control, is what I'm saying. Okay. And Sandy says, can you explain a thought download? It's kind of like a brain dump. So just take a little piece of paper, take a journal, and write down the thoughts that your brain is offering you. Maybe you want to lose weight. What are your main thoughts about that? Maybe you want to get your house organized. Write down all the thoughts you have about it. I'm never going to be able to organize. I'm not an organized person. There's too many people coming in and out. Nobody helps me with all those negative thoughts that you have about the topic that you're wanting to work on. Maybe it's money. I've never been able to control money. My spending is out of control. And I just want you to pick out one of those, do a creation cycle and ask yourself, what am I creating with the thought, my spending is out of control? Tell me in the chat, if that was your thought, my spending is out of control, what are you going to create with that in your creation cycle? You're going to create spending that's out of control, right? I just want you to see, you think you're stating the truth. Those are all thoughts that are optional. And again, I've used this tool to change my relationship with money, with my weight, with my health, with my sleep, even, like so many things. So those thoughts are sneaky because they feel true. So as you think about what your main thoughts are, as you think about the things that you want to change, I want you to spend some time today in your workbook. I want you to spend some time answering the questions there. I want you to spend some time practicing a thought download. Maybe this will be your very first thought download. Spend some time practicing there, and then make sure you join us tomorrow as we pour fuel on the fire for making these changes happen so much faster. I don't see any other questions. Would anybody else like to bring their thought and work through it? If you have a specific thought that you want to bring up to work through, we can. If not, we are right at the top of the hour, so we will stop for today. Let's see if I see any other questions. Thank you so much for coming today, you guys. Tomorrow is it's going to be a piece of the puzzle that's going to put it all together. Yeah, I think she put her hand down now. I don't see it now, Angela. I don't see any hands. Is anybody? Did I miss somebody? If you want to be live coached, you got like 10 seconds. Raise your hand. Come on, girls. And if not, we'll see you tomorrow to pour the jet fuel on this flame of creating nourishing habits for ourselves. You're so welcome, you guys. I'm so happy to see you today. Can't wait till tomorrow. Remember, join the Facebook group. Make sure that you look for the giveaway in there. We're going to be giving away 2 of our quarterly journals in the Facebook group today. All right. Love y'all. See you tomorrow. Bye.